Don't meddle. Take the reward and let's go.
There is one game that rises above the rest for me. One game that haunts my dreams and teleports me into some folklore-drenched world of war and political savagery. As the years go by since the release of The Witcher 3, and the DLC, which are already full games in and of themselves, I realize just how much of a treasure it was. I've played through the game 100% 3 times, and I can honestly say it's the best game I've ever played.
Who taught you to fight like this?
One game, hundreds of hours, late into the 4 a.m. morning, with work only hours away, and I didn't care. I was enthralled. I couldn't get enough of the story, the monsters, the blood-soaked, war-addled world of The Witcher. I literally spent like half a day in menu screens, just toying around with different weapons, gear, and builds. Hours in a menu screen. I wish I could just erase this game from my memory and replay it fresh. Don't you?
I descend once more into my dream of what was.
And not to mention Gwent, when chaos lay smoking behind me and blood spattered the walls. I didn't care if someone asked me for a few rounds of Gwent. I'd nod my head casually, careful not to betray the excitement I felt about laying those sweet, sweet cards down. But the quests were 10 out of 10, and so many quests stood out. Walking into Crookback Bog for the first time had my hair standing on end. It felt like I was transported to some dark-mouthed European woods, with candy nailed to the trees and blood spattering the red leaves and dying foliage. And the crones revealing themselves had my mouth curled in brother's grim disgust. The little legs of some half-eaten child that Weavis taunts Geralt with. They felt like true monsters, old gods of the woods and hills, primal, terrifying, their presence thick in the rotting hollows of trees and smell of dead things in swamps. The Tower of Mice, the political machinations of Redania's Most Wanted questline, the literal palm-sweating fear when helping Krakenkrite's daughter slay that hymn demon in a dirty, sunless basement. The party where you declare love for Triss or not. The carnal sins murder investigation on the dark gothic streets of Novigrad, with moonlight in the puddles and righteous igni burning in your veins. And the Iris House and Hearts of Stone, discovering the history of Olgierd von Everec, discovering that Gaunter O'Dim may just be the devil himself. The fairy tale lands of Toussaint, where you finally just climb a beanstalk to a castle land in the clouds. Thousands of years of history, childhood stories, and the medium of video games all coming together in one Saturday afternoon of playing, portaling me into another dimension.
Into another dimension!
But enough gushing about quests. I can do that all day. This game is like one of those instant classic albums where every song is good and just that mere fact blows you away. No. The quest I want to talk about is a monster contract in the small village of... this place? Fairyland? The monster contracts are technically side quests, but they just blow other games' main quests out of the water. They're just so good. Reading up on the types of Witcher spells in the bestiary, and oils to apply to your sword, all that was time well spent. But this quest. Anytime I came across these monsters in the game and heard the trees creak and the crows croak, I felt a witchery tingle up my spine. In this quest, there are 2 paths you can take. One is siding with Sven and the other young men and killing the Leshen, thereby ridding the village of the influence of the monster. And the other is following the advice of the elders and staying with the old ways, placating the creature, allowing it to continue its hold over the village, its dominion.
You said the creature wants revenge. Why? For what?
Our forefathers hunted with spear and knife. This pleased the woodland spirit. He let us live in peace.
At first glance, you're probably going to want to kill the monster. That's what I did on most playthroughs. But after talking with the Elder, it doesn't seem so cut and dry. He argues that the Leshen protects the village from raiders and hones the skills of the hunters, making them the best of the Isles. But to leave a deadly monster that kills innocents, even if they know what they're getting into, seems contrary to what Witchers, and specifically Geralt, believe. Their core tenet of the Order is to keep the darkness from the door, to kill those that kill others, no matter how nicely it's dressed up by words of sacrifice or tradition. The Elder mentions this cognitive dissonance, though, with how the Witchers sacrifice their own through the trials of the grasses.
They took my choice. I want it back. Not that I'd expect you to understand.
I didn't choose to become a Witcher.
If I'm to choose between one evil and another, I'd rather not
In The Witcher,
choose at all.
there is no black and white, just a stained canvas of the world, where the ink of morality bleeds with the actions of those living. If you choose to kill the ancient Leshen, you rid the area of the powerful influence of nature. But it has marked one of the villagers, and that person must be killed or exiled before the Leshen can truly die. In a cruel rope twist of fate, the marked one turns out to be the woman that Sven loves. After all this, the monster killing begins. And I just love how the deeper you get into the woods, the more atmospheric it feels. This game just nails that like no other. But when coming back with the trophy, the antlered head of an old god bouncing against the sweaty flank of your horse, Roach, you see that Sven and his followers have killed the Elders. If you sided with the Elder initially, Sven and his crew have killed all but him and are about to finish the job. You can choose to step in and save him by killing them or take the coin and leave. Either way, and no matter what initial path you took, you will ride away with a fat pouch of coin and the screams of the villagers carrying on the
Leshen's
wind.
gone, true, but a murderer still haunts the village.
Your work is done, Witcher. You've done your part, and I've done mine.
Think the village will go along with this?
Folk will calm down, realize the guilty needed to be punished. And you, Witcher, on your way. No more monsters left around here.
And apparently, if you visit this village later in the game, after the Battle of Kir Morhen, and you killed the Leshen, then the village is abandoned. Its people left or slaughtered, proving that the Elders may have been right. Oh, I love this game. What are some of your favorite quests in the game? Are you still going to watch The Witcher even without Henry Cavill? And if you enjoyed this video, toss a coin to your Witcher and consider subscribing. Thanks.